Ashok, thank you so much for joining us.
Take opportunity when it comes. Be ready to step out of your comfort zone. I'm a very, very firm believer that, you got to keep yourself growing, because if you don't grow, you stagnate. And if you stagnate, essentially you die.
What are some of the things that, you took alongside?
I always say that I've had a 35-year training program to take on this assignment. Strategy is a very simple thing, actually. Strategy is nothing more than 3 questions. Where are we now? Where are we going? How are we going to get there?
Hello and welcome to Leadership Unscripted, where we delve into the finest minds in financial services. Our objective is to capture their wisdom, their journeys, their learnings, and preserve it for the generations to follow. Leadership, as they say, is about guiding organizations through change while preserving what makes them unique. Our guest today has done exactly that across 3 continents. And with the world's most renowned financial institutions, be it Citibank, Barclays, and more. He's actually shaped digital banking much before the word fintech sort of came up. Now, as the MD and CEO of Kotak Mahindra Bank, he's bringing global perspectives where India is changing and redefining its place in the world. Please welcome, and it's my honor to have Mr. Ashok Vaswani, MD and CEO of Kotak Mahindra Bank. Ashok, thank you so much for joining us on Leadership Unscripted.
Pratik, thank you. Thank you so much. Really good to be with you.
Likewise. Growing up in Bombay, and I've seen you once mentioned, you never anticipated growing up that the life will take you across so many journeys, from cricket to where you wanted to be a spinner, or mom sort of wanted you to become a doctor. But then what got you to banking? And just talk us about your early journeys from Bombay to the world that you sort of went across.
So Pratik, I must tell you, I've been exceedingly lucky. I don't think anybody could have crafted this as a plan that, this will happen, that will happen, this will happen. So exceedingly lucky. I was at a consulting company in those days, A.F. Ferguson Consulting. And my last client was Citibank.
Right.
And I actually did a recruitment for Citibank for the CFO position for the consumer bank. Okay. And that's when I got to meet the then country head, Jerry Rao, who of course is exceptionally well known.
Legend.
And Jerry, and I remember I was in Indian Express building, and I went to see Jerry in Air India building. As I got down from Air India building to get back to Indian Express building, Kumar Advani, again, who's another legend, called me when I entered and said, Jerry would be keen to offer you a job. And that's how I joined Citi. And that's a 20-year journey, which has been incredible.
Awesome.
So Citi, I was in India for only about 8 months, then spent time in Dubai, saw the Gulf crisis, Desert Storm, Desert Shield, then got transferred to Istanbul, where I kind of launched Citibank from zero, including identifying offices, did 750 interviews for the first 50 people, and then built up that business, then division executive, Turkey, Middle East, Africa. And then when talk about Citi taking bets, I got transferred to Brussels to become the marketing director for Europe, Middle East, Africa. I did that for about a year, and then got transferred to New York to become the CFO for the US credit card business. And that's where I saw scale, serious scale.
Serious scale, correct.
From there, I did that for about 3 years and got transferred to head up Asia Pacific Consumer in Singapore, something I'm very, very proud of. Asian heading up Asia, was a different feeling.
Correct.
My family didn't come out to Asia with me. They were sick and tired of moving around.
Travels and moving around.
Yeah. So my daughter stayed back. And so in our last year of high school, my wife said, look, you better come back. That's why I went back to New York.
Right.
And at a senior level position.
Right.
Not necessary that senior level jobs open up at the same time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, the president of Citigroup, Bob Williamstad, was setting up a private equity firm called Brysam. And he invited me to join Brysam.
Right.
So that's what I did, very, very different. And that was quite exciting. But then, of course, the global financial crisis did a whole bunch of stuff. And an ex-colleague, Anthony Jenkins, used to live in the same building as I was in New York.
Wow.
And he was going to London, or he was in London with Barclays. And that's how I got to Barclays. And then a 12-year run with Barclays. And then finally, I had this bug about fintech, right? What is it about fintech that's so different?
Right.
And I met a very interesting bunch of Israeli folks. Fantastic business model. They were setting up in New York. So I went back to New York to be the president of Bagaya. And then Egon Zender presented me to their Kotak. And, we had a 6-month kind of dating period. And here I am.
All the exotic places that one can think of, you had challenging journeys through them. So it is,
like I said, exceedingly lucky.
And obviously it comes with a lot of hard work, that goes along with it, no doubt. Given this journey, Ashok, the background, the values, the learnings, the early days of how you sort of prepared yourself plays a big role. What are some of the things that, you took alongside? I'm sure there are several things you learned, unlearned, but what are some of the things that have, you picked up and they've always stayed constant as part of this journey?
So, look, I think the biggest one was take opportunity when it comes, right? Be ready to step out of your comfort zone. Right? Moving from a country to country is not easy.
Correct.
Particularly not easy for the family. So I must give a huge amount of credit to my wife, who's kind of managed these kind of transitions. But even going into a new country, learning about the new country, learning how things work there, learning what happens, it's exciting. It's very exciting, but it's also very tough. But I think taking opportunity, getting out of your comfort zone allows you to really grow. And I'm a very, very firm believer that, you got to keep yourself growing. Because if you don't grow, you stagnate. And if you stagnate, essentially you die.
Correct.
And therefore, keeping an open mind, learning and growing is a very important thing. And I think my mom drove that very hard all along, that you got to continuously learn. Continuous learning is like so critical.
Especially for the family when they have been traveling. On the other hand, you are working at newer places where acceptance sometimes could be a challenge, or at least saying you don't know how we do things here. Balancing all of that and still keeping the head focused to learn new things is a it needs a different amount of dedication and focus. Were there times in when you did some of these transitions where you thought this is too much of a risk that I have taken? Or
once you take it, there's no choice. You have to kind of move ahead.
True.
And interestingly, I think the most difficult place, which is I think a lot of people will find counterintuitive, but I think the most difficult place to settle into was actually New York.
Okay.
Because everybody assumed you understand English. So I went there and I was, so much paper and it was kind of done. But, getting used to it and explaining to the team in America that you too could add some value, right? Was maybe the hardest transition that I've made.
And especially as Indian, and obviously India has to a different place today in the world, but at that point in time, really making your presence.
No, I must say I was treated very well. I had no issues around there. But generally speaking, America is so different, so large.
Right.
People have grown up there. They've understood everything. They kind of wonder as to what value a foreigner can bring. And it takes that little more effort to say, yes, there is value that, you can bring to the table.
Now that you come back to India, especially when consumerism and, the whole consumer banking side of India is going through massive transformation. Tell us about some of the work that you've done in Asia Pac, and obviously in Barclays, as you were transforming consumer banking and some of the lessons that, still are relevant in today's time.
I mean, it's just awesome to be back in India. It's not without its challenges. I came back after 35 years and things have changed dramatically. So at one level, of course, I'm an Indian. I'm born and brought up here. So at one level, it's easier, but the transition takes time and takes effort. But the opportunities in India are quite incredible. And I always say that I've had a 35-year training program to take on this assignment. And I've learned in different places. In Asia, we really learned about wealth management and how wealth management was done. That I think was a very big learning. In America, it's all about scale. How do you manage scale? Like you have 200 million customers, 200 million credit cards need to be printed, statements every month, all of them have to go out on time. People have to be called, how do you automate and digitize and all of that kind of good stuff. And then in the UK, it was all about digital, right? How do you transform a business from an analog business to digital? I tell you, one of the most defining experiences I've had actually is Africa. I ran Africa for about 18 months or so. I visited nearly 14 markets in Africa. But it's very, very interesting. Two things happened in Africa. One, they kind of leapfrog from no phone to mobile phone. Completely leapfrog the landline. And how do you take advantage of that? And two, how do you make products and services relevant to a particular marketplace? So for example, even in India, of course, in America, you go to Costco and you buy 12 bottles of shampoo at one go. In India, maybe you buy one bottle of shampoo. But in Africa, they sell sachets of shampoo, right? For like 10 cents, 15 cents and stuff like that. That tells you the way you have to kind of, your product design, product pricing, product distribution. You need mega markets in America. You need dark stores in India. And you need, feet on street sellers in Africa. And how does that apply to financial services and how you do it?
And still make the economics work.
So different markets have taught me different lessons. And that's why I say this has been a 35-year training program for this assignment.
If I take one more example of, what you did with Barclays in UK, again, a very traditional bank whose sort of 300-year-old history, now moving into a digital era, and you sort of given the realms of driving that, what was the journey like in terms of just making them think about digital? Because again, it's very traditional otherwise.
What's the most fascinating part about that journey was while we were going analog to digital, it had nothing to do, well, obviously it had something to do with technology, but the drive that I had to take was not about technology. We had some very, very good people, my digital head, outstanding people, they were doing that. The real thing was, how do you shift the mindset of the people, right? I remember when we first launched our app, I went into a couple of our branches and the branches said, they didn't say it in so many words, but they basically said, you sit in your ivory tower office, you don't understand, we deal with customers, we know them, they're never going to go onto your app. And I came back to my office and I was feeling so depressed, right? I said, we put so much effort into this. And that's when I realized that it's really about shifting the mindset of the people, right? And moving the mindset of the people, these are people who have been with Barclays for a long period of time, getting them to think differently. I had a colleague working with me, who was with me at Barclays for a long period of time. And by training, he was a geologist. And I brought him into the room and I said, Stephen, help me. How are we going to do this? And huge credit to him for actually thinking about what people initiatives we could take to drive this kind of transformation. And I get a chance to look at Barclays Digital Eagles on YouTube and the kind of things that we did to kind of actually drive that change in digital mindset. One of the most rewarding parts of my life.
And these are, like you said, these are those 35 years of learnings that you carry forward, because in every change, on one end, you need the conviction to sort of drive that change, and the other end, how do you take the organization along? Now coming back home, with that journey, how has it been so far, both personally and professionally?
So personally, now very, very well settled, feel very much at home. Initially was a little bumpy, but now completely well set and really loving it. On the work front, of course, last year we had the technology embargo, so that was, but in a way, I'm glad it happened because I think we kind of doubled up. We put the basics into place and we're kind of charging ahead. In many ways, the same digital transformation, which I've done earlier, we're kind of playing the movie out, except it's moving much, much, much faster. To India's public digital infrastructure is something I have not seen anywhere else in the world.
Correct.
And therefore, how do you leverage upon that and make it happen? And then, of course, we are sitting at the starting gate as far as AI is concerned.
Right.
So the speed at which we'll have to move, but the benefit or the opportunity is just amazing. And I think we are up for it.
No, I think they always say in India, speed, scale, velocity, all of that just comes all together.
Yeah, absolutely correct.
And there is absolutely no patience, right from people driving on the road to, getting in the queue to expectations that everyone has. So it's a fun journey. And personally, are you, home?
Absolutely home, very comfortable. Love Bombay.
Well, Ashok, now we go to the second segment, which is what we call as the wisdom world. This really focuses from your journey to all your learnings, your experiences, the choices that you've made. So let me start off with saying, when you lead change, and, you mentioned that you never get a blank canvas and you've got to preserve certain things, and then obviously certain things you need to reinvent, rediscover, certain things you modify. So how do you go about, driving change, especially, given the number of roles you've done, any design principles that you sort of follow?
So, look, Pratik, every organization has a certain amount of DNA. Right? And I think you should preserve that DNA because that's the strength of the organization. Right? And if you can play on the strengths of the organization, that's so much better. You're swimming free rather than swimming against the tide. Number two, have the humility to say, look, I'm coming new into this organization. It's not as if I know all the answers, but collectively we're going to figure this out, right? Collectively we're going to figure this out, and therefore, what is the issue? And you get a broad level understanding of what the issue are. I always say that strategy is a very simple thing actually. Strategy is nothing more than 3 questions. Where are we now? Where are we going? How are we going to get there?
Right.
And strategy is done at the top of the house or the group. Strategy is done at a division level. Strategy is done at an individual level. Pratik, you are where you are. And you are every day asking your question yourself. Consciously or unconsciously, here I am. Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? Right? And all of us are doing that.
Absolutely.
So that is strategy. So let's not make a bigger deal out of it than it is. So if you get a common understanding of where you are, common understanding of where you want to go, then it's a matter of just working your way through.
Absolutely.
By the way, the most difficult part is understanding where you are. And I'll tell you why. Have you ever heard of the story of the 3 blind men and the elephant? Right? You take 3 men, blindfold them, you put one person on the side of the elephant, back of the elephant, top of the elephant, and let them feel the elephant and describe it. Obviously, everybody will describe it very different. That's exactly what happens in an organization.
So true.
Right? And therefore, getting everybody to the common place, this is where we are, this is where we want to get to, and then work your way to how we're going to get there. Now, as usual, it is always a people game. Who are the people who buy into it? Obviously, if somebody is, positively signed up, that's great. If somebody is definitely not signed up, that's great too. Right? Because at least the person is being honest and, you deal with that. The worst is people who say they are signed up, but actually are not signed up. Right? And those are the people you kind of deal with. So as usual, it's a carrot and stick. It's cajoling. So, you kind of put an arm around the shoulder. You kick on the shin. And you kind of keep making sure that this kind of thing goes. But staying true to this course and putting in place a process right? That constantly is evaluating it and saying, this is what we did, this is what, out of this is the progress that we're making. That's about how you bring about change.
You put it in a very, very simplistic manner. It takes a village to get this going. But what really stayed with me is, the humility and accepting the fact that I may not have an answer alone, but we jointly need to have it as a team. And I think the other point, the collective self-awareness of where we are, because, everyone's awareness levels are very different, and just making the whole group aware of where we are and where the journey needs to be, I think is a valuable insight a lot of folks will sort of carry. I think the other question then comes alongside, Ashok, is sometimes when answers are not obvious, where data says something, instinct says something, people say something, how do you take decisions in some of these situations where there is no congruency and you sort of still have to arrive at some decision?
So look, Pratik, you're never going to get a state where you have all the data and you can make 100% decision.
Right.
Okay. So what I tend to do is say, okay, based on what I know, this is where I'm heading, right? Test that with a bunch of folks, people who are knowledgeable. Look out for people who will bring a different perspective from you.
Right.
Right. Typically, we tend to go to people who think like us. It's really important to go to people who think differently.
Give you a contrary.
Right, who will give you a contrary view. Yeah. Because if nothing else, it forces you to think.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if I'm making 6 or 6.5 times, 6 times out of 10, if I'm generally speaking right, I'd call that a great batting average. Combined with that, the ability to say, I got this wrong, I'm going to course correct. And course correct quickly. I think are two important things, very, very important things.
Correct. No, that's very useful. How important it is, and I ask this question because mentorship and having mentors earlier on in our careers was very useful in terms of shaping our thoughts and our journey. How important it is, to have mentors, sounding boards, for leaders, like you mentioned, through their journey. And again, the set of folks that you talk to will differ. But how important is that?
No, I think it's hugely important, right? And it's hugely important at any stage.
Right.
Because, look, there's always the next stage that comes.
Right.
You have to be successful at what you are doing. And then there'll be a next stage that comes. So always having some mentors who you can talk to, who've been through the journey before, right, is really, really helpful to get a perspective. You may not pick up, chances are you're not going to pick up everything.
Right.
But even if you get just one or two things right, it's a very big deal.
Okay. And as you look at the next 10 years in financial services, like you said, AI is moving in a different direction. Digital is obviously played out very well. And then you have the Gen Zs that is now becoming bankable. What will shape the leaders in the next set of leaders in financial services? And what sort of qualities will drive the next set of leaders?
So look, financial services is really a fascinating area. I'll tell you why it's fascinating. Number one, everybody says, or there's a misnomer that financial services means Excel worksheets and precision, and the return is 9.623%, or the interest rate is 4.917%. Frankly, that is all, it's there, but it's far less relevant. Finances is all about emotion. There is so much emotion involved in finances. It is incredible. People don't talk about their salaries, or people show off about their salaries. People don't even talk sometimes to their spouses about, what the earnings are, what the return is. Just imagine. There is so much emotion. It's all driven by so much fear, greed, hope. There's so many emotions that kind of trust. So there's so many emotions at play. So if somebody says financial services is dead, boring, I'd say, hey, I don't know what you were drinking. I've seen financial services. It's all about emotion. 2, financial services is involved in every single thing, right? Even if you go to the park for a walk and you want to buy a bottle of water, you have to dip into your wallet to take out cash, right?
That's right.
Whether it is you pay by cash, credit card, UPI, whatever it is, financial services involved, right? Think about it. Today, suppose I'm working for, I don't know, a Pepsi or a Coke. The customer first has to feel thirsty. After the person feels thirsty, the person will make a choice whether they want something cold or something hot, right? Then they have to say, I want something cold. Once they want something cold, they'll make a decision between, do I want a lassi, aerated, limbu pani, blah, 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 blah. So I have to come down and say, I want an aerated cold drink. Then I make a choice between Pepsi and Coke. And I'm saying financial services, you made the choice right up front.
Absolutely.
That I'm ready to buy something, how am I going to pay for it? Right? So financial services, and it cuts across everybody.
The whole
spectrum.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore I'm saying financial services is the most exciting place to be. And it is global. It is truly, truly global.
That's
right. Now, as financial services evolve, right? See, just think about it, right? I don't know, 35, 40 years ago, banks would insist you come to my branch.
Yeah.
Then they became a little kinder and said, okay, come to my telephone.
That's right.
But my telephone. Then they became a little kinder and said, come to my internet. But my internet. In the first decade of this century, for the first time, we went to the customer's mobile. For the first time. Right? For the first time in this century, we connected with APIs and got the corporates and linked into their ERP systems.
That's
right. The trend is very clear. We have to get embedded into the customer journey.
Yeah.
Right. And with AI and things like that, there'll be deeper integration,
seamless,
greater hyper-personalization, and that's what's going to happen. So this is a consumer marketing game. This is a world global game. This is a game full of emotions. I honestly can't think of a more exciting place than financial services.
I haven't heard such a profound and such an emotional view of financial services, Ashok. If you had to offer a piece of advice for the next gen leaders who are entering or sort of growing in financial services, what would be the advice?
So if you're already in financial services and you've made that kind of choice, first things first, life is too short.
Right.
Be passionate about what you do.
Right.
You can only excel if you're passionate.
Right.
Right? There's no other way.
Right.
The minute you're not enjoying your work and stuff like that,
right,
then it's very hard to excel.
Yeah.
Life is too short, not really worth it.
Yeah.
To look early in the career, get as many experiences as possible. Definitely learn how to manage people. I haven't come across a single school or manual that teaches you how to manage people. It is the most difficult thing to do, right?
There is no playbook.
There is no playbook.
Absolutely. Lovely anecdotes and nuggets of wisdom. I'll sort of jump into the next segment, which is really sort of looking beyond the horizon. I think we spoke a bit about AI, but if you had to fast forward another 5-7 years, and I think I shudder to say even 7 because lots is going to change. How do you think AI will sort of redefine financial services?
So, Pratik, I think AI is going to change lives.
Exactly.
I mean, financial services is just one part of it. AI is just going to change everything. I think AI is going to be bigger than the internet.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, I don't think it's going to be linear. I think there are going to be bumps along the way.
Of course.
Identical to what happened with the deployment of the internet, right?
Yeah.
But this is really, really powerful. Really powerful. And with this kind of thing, there's some things which are really, really great about it. There's some things which really give you concern.
Right.
And we will have to, kind of create a path on how we go down this.
Right.
Thinking about this carefully is very important.
Right.
And I think we collectively, as leaders, have to think about, hey, what is the path that we want to kind of go with this guy? But it is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And it will change everything. That life, it's like how we used to have life before a mobile phone, after
mobile.
It'll be life before AI and after AI.
Exactly. No, I agree, and I'm in the same camp. I just wanted to get your views. Any top 3-4 things that come to your mind, which will, from a financial services standpoint?
No, I mean, apart from financial services, just think about education, which is so fundamental, right? Gone are the days, or at least when I was studying formally, that I studied 20 years. I learned a whole bunch of principles. Those principles lasted for the next 50 years. Gone. Today, if you're not constantly learning, right, you're just going to get outdated in less than 6 months, right? So constant learning instead of one-time learning is going to become a big deal, right? Financial services has to adapt because, look, I mean, if a customer is using technology in the way the customer communicates, entertains, lives his or her life, financial services can't be any different.
Correct.
So financial services has to take this up. Right. And the power of AI really is all about hyper-personalization.
Right.
That's the core of it.
That's the core.
Right. And that is the core of it. It's all about understanding your customer better. So businesses will have to do it.
Yeah. I think you once said if you get it right by the customer, everything else sort of falls in place. I think I see this over the last 3-4 years, all of a sudden from regulator, which is important, a lot of the focus has been on the customer and journeys, etc. Everything has been sort of redesigned, thinking the customer in mind. How do you see the whole customer proposition evolving over the next few years from consumer banking?
By the way, I didn't say it once, I say it every day.
Okay.
And I try and remind the team every day, we have to get it right for the customer.
Right.
If you're building a sustainable business, you have to get it right for the customer. Right. You can, financial jugglery, promotions, sweeteners will get you that far. But if you want to build a sustainable business, get it right by the customer. And maybe even a cliched thing, if you truly get it right by the customer, you can even demand a premium and the valuation and the profitability kind of goes up. Right. Nobody can accuse Apple of being cheap.
Of course.
And but yet people line up,
experience
because just the product is so good and the experience is kind of so good, right? So therefore, getting it right by the customer, I think is just essential. And shame on all of us if we think we're doing it only because of the regulator. We should actually be doing it because it makes business sense.
Absolutely.
Right? And why do we need a regulator to come and tell us that? We should be getting out and kind of getting this right and getting ahead of the regulatory standards as well. So I'm a very, very firm believer in getting it right by the customer is the essential of building a business.
The last bit I wanted to cover is the whole made in India, the banks that are made in India. I think we still are not there in terms of the Indian banks in the top 20 banks in the world. I think we look at the next decade, I'm sure we will have few of our banks becoming, or at least getting into the top 10, 20 banks in the global banking list. What will be that Indian bank for the rest of the world? What will be that Indian bank made of? And what will be some of the key components that will really define and put Indian banks on the world map?
Look, it's only a matter of time before the Indian banks get there. India is the fastest growing economy in the world.
Right.
India is the third largest economy in the world. And no economy can grow without financial services, right? In fact, financial services as a thumb rule grows at about 1.5 times economic growth. So that's going to kind of happen.
Right.
And as the economy grows, the financial services sector will grow and banks will grow. So there's just, one can't do without the other.
Sure.
Financial services is the oil
100%.
For the economy. Two, I think what India has done in terms of its public digital infrastructure is just incredible. There's no other country in the world that has that kind of platform. So that bodes well. And that will, kind of grow. And three, with things like, technology advancements and AI and stuff like that, it will be, easier to kind of get that growth and going. Now, the real question you should be asking is, who are the folks who will actually get there versus who will be left behind?
Yeah.
Right? And that is something which I think all of us existing folks need to be paranoid about.
Absolutely.
Right? As to where will the growth come from? How will we position our organization to change, adapt, and grow to get there, as opposed to doing things in our own way.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the ingredients I was trying to allude to, because everyone will have to think very differently. I think with gift, with international presence, with the diaspora, and obviously with leading tech, I think those will be some of the key things that, banks will position themselves very differently. I think we come to a fun segment, which is, flash fitness.
Sure.
What is the first thing that you do when you land in a new country?
The first thing I do when land, look for something which is familiar. I remember landing in Turkey and going from the airport to the hotel, and I saw a McDonald's. You don't know how much happiness that gave me, that there's something which is there, which I can recognize.
Okay. Okay. The most Indian habit that you never outgrown of, even after decades of
Indian food.
Indian food? Okay. Okay. One tech that you can't live without.
The mobile phone for sure.
Okay. If you had 1 extra hour in a day, what would you
Sleep.
sleep more? Okay. Are you a reader or you are a YouTube video
Reader.
How many books a year approximately, or just?
I always have 3 or 4 books which I'm reading all at the same time,
Okay.
depending on what the mood of the evening is.
Okay.
So kind of read along.
Fine dine or street food?
Street food.
Street food. Any particular city?
I think Delhi has maybe the best Indian food,
That's right.
right? And after Delhi, I think it's London.
Okay.
London has got some great Indian food.
A city that you feel most at home?
Bombay.
Your stress buster?
Stress buster is watching movies. Bollywood, not even Hollywood.
Okay. The all types, all genres?
All genres. I normally get onto Netflix or
Okay.
JioStar, and they've got some great ones going on.
Do you watch documentaries at all?
Yeah, in fact, I just finished watching Rocket Boys, and if you haven't seen that, you must see it.
Okay, good. A quote or mantra that you always sort of use in meetings or conversations, or something that you...
Well, usually I just say, I'm an old man, move quickly.
Ashok, that brings me to the last question. Thank you very much for your time. It is fantastic to have this conversation with you. Given you watch Bollywood movies, I would want to end by your favorite movie or a song that defines your journey, that defines a fun moment that you're having, maybe with a glass of wine or whiskey, whatever is the beverage of your choice.
I have so many movies. Look, I like, a movie stayed with me is, for example, Black, right? I don't know if you've seen that movie.
It does.
Amitabh and that movie just stayed with me and is etched in my memory. But on the other hand, I love, just like fun movies. That recent one with Ranveer and Alia.
Rocky
Rani, So I just do it. I just kind of
so there's
watch
something
movies to kind of just unwind.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And I kind of watch whatever. If my wife recommends something, then that's the way to go.
Next time I see something,
Yes, please do keep me in mind.
message you and keep you in mind. I've got a liking to South Indian movies now.
Oh, great.
Because the South side has been doing very well. Earlier it used to be watching the subtitles, but now they've been kind enough to
Dub them.
Yeah, especially the Rajnikant. So
If you see something nice, WhatsApp me.
100%. Ashok, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pratik. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.